It's always a great thing when I can get out of politics in the midst of this chaos and talk to an icon, talk to someone I've watched over the decades. I am talking about none other than the great Glynn Turman, actor, humanitarian. He is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. He is getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And what's crazy is, I as a kid watched. I wasn't supposed to, but as a kid, I snuck and got a hold. I don't know how of Cooley High. I got depressed, but and then on to Straw, which I just cried the first time, and my kids thought something was wrong with me because I watched it 4 times in a row. Because as a single Black woman at one time in my life who had kids, I related to Taraji P. Henson. But we're not going to give it away if you haven't seen it yet. I don't know how you haven't, because it was I know it was number one around the world
yeah,
for
the whole
9
world has
days.
seen it. The whole world has already seen it.
Yeah, for 9 days, it was number one, and it's still holding strong. And
Right.
Glynn Turman, thank you so much for joining me. What is this moment for you? You are getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. To be honest with you, you should have had it a long time ago, decades ago.
Well, I believe in something called divine time.
Yeah.
I'm in a time right now in my career, in my life, in the moment that it's always nice to still be surprised and to still be excited about the things that this business that I've spent my life in has to offer. And of course, the star is what fills those boxes. I'm surprised. I'm elated. I'm honored. I'm all of those things that at this stage of my career, some 60 something years later, uh, this tribute affords me. Denzel, I'm wearing, as a matter of fact, around my neck, Denzel Washington, the cast of Ma Rainey.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, that's
Yeah,
right.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, this gift.
Show it to us, lift it
And
up.
it says that it says on here that man gives the award and God gives the reward. And I thought that was quite apropos when I received this from him. And it's true. I'm both blessed and honored. I'm blessed that God has carried me this far in my journey, that my dream has been so fulfilling, and that the awards from man who says that my contribution has been worthy of attention is quite fulfilling.
So, and speaking of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, I mean, your body of work is all, you have touched almost every. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you and hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. We got a terrible thunderstorm. Here we go. And if you could keep close to the camera, right? That's better.
Okay.
All right. 3, 2, and 1. Your body of work, speaking of Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, was the first time I had a chance to talk with you. And you have played so many types of different characters, but that was the last time, I guess you worked with Chadwick Boseman. Is that correct?
Last time any of us worked with Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. And that was, I remember talking to you about that moment. What are some of the highlights of your careers, the movies, the experiences, and the people that you've had a chance to work with, and even your private life? And a lot of people don't know he rides horses. He's a horseman in California.
Yeah. Well, it's been quite a ride, April. I think I've told you this before, and that depending on the medium, whether it be television, stage, or film, that there have been different highlights along this journey, which has been some 60 something years, as I've said. Starting at the very beginning with Sidney Poitier and Ruby Dee in the original production of A Raisin in the Sun.
Yeah.
Lorraine Hansberry's iconic piece that was a barrier breaker on Broadway, those many years ago. It hurled me into the middle of a context of storytelling that
Mhm.
was at the top of the list. It let me know at an early age what was important
Yeah.
about our story as
Mhm.
Black people to be contributed. What was the importance of knowing your craft?
Yeah.
What was important. So I got a very wonderful lesson in my coming out the gate, and that has been the benchmark for my uh, my
Career.
my my choices
Okay.
along the way. My choices of what films I want to be, what plays I want, what stories I want to tell. How do I want to represent our people and myself? So of course Cooley High was a benchmark in
Yeah.
motion pictures. It was a wonderful story that came at a pivotal time when most of the stories being told were kind of one-sided. Talking
A
about
Black cast and not Black exploitation either.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. You
I
got
told
it.
you I watched it.
You got it, April. You got it. And then of course a different world.
Oh,
Is still going on today. A matter of fact, it's just been
rebooted.
picked up to be rebooted. So for that, to still be going on, and to have been a part of that wonderful cast and those great stories, that was helmed by Susan Fails and directed by Debbie Allen, and to continue on to receive an Emmy on for primetime television, was a land a barrier breaker. The Wire uh, was a wonderful show that I was a part of.
And I'm
So
from Baltimore, and I hate to say, sir, I refuse to watch it because I'm like, that's not all of Baltimore. But it's that work was so important that
it
they
was
taught,
important.
right, and they're teaching it in college.
Yes,
They're course.
yes,
So I don't
yes.
downplay it, but I live in Baltimore. But
I understand.
yeah, but
I
it was such an important work that it's
yeah.
researched and studied in
Mhm.
colleges like, I mean, those Ivy League colleges
Mhm.
that are,
Mhm.
yes. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So to have been a part of that, and then right on up to Ma Rainey, as we spoke about,
Hmm.
and Rustin, which
Yes.
so iconic, and now this powerful piece, Straw,
Yeah.
which is as you mentioned, touches on the lives of so many, especially Black mothers. My mother is a single parent, and I remember all the trials and tribulations that we had and that she had as a single parent, the gas being turned off, the lights being turned off, cold water flat, her trying to work 2 and 3 jobs as a
Mm-hmm.
waitress, as a maid, and so, you know, I'm still, you know, in the fray of a artistic warrior, so to speak,
Yeah.
using my craft and the words of great playwrights, who try to make a dent in the consciousness of man.
There's a documentary on your life, and that's one of the reasons why I keep saying I cannot believe you don't have a star, because your impact, the kind of things that you've done, and the people you work with, Chadwick Boseman, Tyler Perry, Taraji P. Henson, Coleman Domingo several times, right? Um,
Correct.
and many others, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs, going way back when,
Mhm.
Jasmine Guy. I I was a big fan. I was in college at that time of A Different World. And it really put an impact on me and my college experience at an HBCU. Colonel Taylor was everything. He was that man that brought rigor and he brought calmness in the midst of many storms every episode. But it was just such a wonderful show. You've been in almost every part of our lives in different ways. And there's a documentary, as I said, on your life. And that's one of the reasons why I'm like, wait a minute, why isn't there a star already? So talk to me about this documentary and now the connection, the marrying. You know, people have looked at your life and analyzed your life and your work, and now you're getting the star.
Yeah, well, that documentary I was producing along with my producing partner, Junie Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And we produced several documentaries, starting with the great Woody King Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people might, in the general public, might not know that name, but he was responsible, Woody King Jr., for so much of the early theater, black theater,
Mm.
in the national scene, um, with his new federal theater. And he discovered pretty much everybody who went on to be major players in the game came through Woody King's theater or the Negro Ensemble Theater Company,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
started by Robert Hooks. But Woody King, we did a documentary on him. We did a documentary on on Danny Glover, and finally, my partner Junie says, "Glenn, we need to do a documentary on you as well."
Amen.
I said,
Amen.
"Oh, I don't want." He says it's important, and
Mm-hmm.
he convinced me that somehow it was important to do that, and so we did it. And it's on Peacock now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's called the Legend of Glynn Turman. And what it is more than anything, because we have a different style, we go with the person, and the person talks completely about their life without cutting to others, reflecting on who they think that person is,
Mm-hmm.
which is the contemporary style of documentary telling. But we were able to, just from my point of view, and offering it as someone who is, I'm not patting myself on the back, but
But
I
you should.
think it's
You
important.
should.
No, I just think it's important to bring out certain facts. And one of the facts is, as iconic as A Raisin in the Sun was and is, and most, especially young thespians, know that play, and most people in general know something about A Raisin in the Sun, having seen at least one of the productions of the many productions that's been done. But of the original production, I am the last member of that cast. What I have to bring to that story, when I say bye, it's done.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, in recognizing that, carrying that gauntlet, uh, I it behooves me to make sure that as best I can, I pass along that
Yeah.
knowledge and that spirit,
Yeah.
you see, because on the stage at the same time, I don't think, if you take the importance of history and the importance of the timing of when that was done,
That part. Yes.
that part, and you put all of that together, and the people who came together to make that happen under divine time, which
Yeah.
is where I started this conversation. The divine timing of that instance, to tell that story. Hello,
Mm.
teach.
Preach. We are and this is why I like talking to you, because in this lofty perch you sit, revered as this great thespian, as this great actor. You are very much aware of the time when you started and the time we're in now. It's so cyclical. You were there when we were fighting for our rights,
Right.
got rights, and now they've been pulled back.
Yes.
Um, what are your thoughts about that? You have witnessed the victory and then the pullback, the rollback.
Mhm.
It's not, and it's impacting as well Hollywood too. It's
Yes.
impacting us
Oh,
and
it's
Hollywood.
impacting everything.
Right.
Everything. Yes, it's
What are your
impacting.
thoughts about that, sir?
It's frustrating.
Okay, wait a minute.
All the things
Pause
that
for
would
one
make
second. Let's we
the average
I lost you for a minute.
trooper.
I lost you for 1 second. go back to it's frustrating.
It's frustrating. Definitely. It's if you've lived through it and you've seen all this work. But there's a poem by Rudyard Kipling that says, if you can watch the things you worked for,
Mm,
broken and torn, and then stoop and build them up again with worn out tools, where our tools are worn out,
mm.
but we must stoop and build it up again.
Whew. What do you say? What do you say in the midst? I mean, we're watching, we're watching everyone get upset, but there's a certain person that's out there protesting. What do you say to people who look like us, who's saying, we fought a long time ago and this is,
Mm.
I mean, and you were one of those fighters. You speak with such clarity. It's not political, but it's humanity, you know? Um, and when you speak, I think about the moment that we're in, and your fight, your constant fight got you where you are and it sustained you.
Mm.
And now you're being rewarded with a Hollywood, with a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But then you have a lot of us, particularly our young brothers and sisters and cousins and nieces and
Mhm.
nephews, who are like, that's not me. They did this. I'm gonna let them take care of it. What do you say to them right now?
I'm trying to find the words, Ryan, because I run into them quite often, and I run into that attitude quite often. And I try to first have to make sure that I'm listening to them. I have to hear what, as best I can, with their ears and information that they have, because the information they have is not the information that we had that made us the warriors that we became. They're fighting off a different level of ground. Many of them say, I don't need affirmative action. Affirmative action was embarrassing for us in my generation. And that's incomprehensible to me and our generation who know what affirmative action and DEI and all of that did and how we needed it so that they could get to a point of arrogance, but belief that they don't need that. And that's what we wanted. So if they can make that energy keep the fight going from that perspective, then yeah, maybe they're right. Maybe this is a new day.
Mm,
Maybe this is a new jumping off point. Maybe this is a place where they say, hey, that just ain't going to happen. You are not doing this to me because I know nothing about it. I have no reference for
wow.
it. You see
That's
what I'm saying?
powerful. That's
That's
powerful.
power.
We got Dr. King wanted us at every table, not just at the Black table. And
Correct.
now that we got there, we're saying, okay, well, I'm gonna choose where I want to go. And
Yeah.
maybe, like you say, maybe that's the new reference point. But I still need people to understand your story, the
I
struggle,
understand.
the climb. We still got to remember our history, and
Got to.
that's concerning to me.
That's discerning. Yes,
Yeah,
that's discerning.
yeah. So, and also now, and I don't want to hold you long, and I'm so thankful because every time I talk to you, I get all I'm a fan, and you know this,
Thank you.
but I just love listening to you and your wisdom. But here's the piece that I want to ask you about Hollywood, because Hollywood is sending a message to actors, the thespians, to the whole community of entertainment after that strike,
Mm,
um, dealing with AI, etc.
mm.
What should we look for or anticipate now, since there has been a shift in Hollywood, the shift that you've talked about?
Well, you know, I like Tyler Perry's frame of reference when it comes to where his head is at and
Mhm.
how he makes films.
Yeah.
Do you know how many films come out of Africa that are on Netflix right now? Do you know how important it is that their stories are being broadcast all over the world, being made in Nigeria, Nollywood?
And
Uh,
they're actually good. They're actually getting better and
they're
better.
getting better and better.
Yes.
And that's a bridge. Do you know how many people? And when I do Straw, and I've been cussed out across the country for my
I
character
was shocked. I couldn't believe. I was like,
across
that's
the
Glynn
world.
Turman. I was
Oh, I
like,
had so
oh no.
April. I had so much fun doing that part. I had so,
I was like, ooh, you
but
deserve what you got. That's all I'm
half of those comments are
saying.
coming from new fans in Africa.
Really?
Yes, South
Because
Africa,
of
Nigeria, all
the
of them.
global
And a
network of,
global is
yes.
a global thing now.
Yeah.
And we are a part of that and must embrace that and deal with that as and support one another in that. We have finally become an international race of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
Mm.
Tyler is right.
F them.
75 million people watched Straw on its opening week. 75 million. That ain't all black people.
You right?
You don't get 75 million if just black folks is watching.
No.
You
F
understand
them.
what I'm saying?
That's what Tyler
We are
said.
in the world.
Yeah.
We are in,
In the world, not in your little box, in your little community. It's global. It's beyond
we have
places
to
and spaces
continue
you
to
can.
support one another. We
Yeah.
have to get the finances from one another, you
Yeah.
know, and that's across the board. We have to make sure our money
Uh-oh.
our community. That's
Okay, let's say that again. We have to make sure our money is spent in that. It's clicking out, and I don't know if Yvette is clicking out either, too. But yeah, if you could say we have to spend the money in our community.
we have to make sure that we spend the money in our community and that it circulates in our community.
Yeah, and
You
Tyler.
know, every other community, the money circulates three or four, at least or even five times before it dissipates in the community.
Yeah,
But ours, we spend it right at the white man's door.
and Tyler Perry is that great example right now.
Not good.
I need you to say that whole back part again because you froze again. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get ready to say goodbye to you, but can you say the whole back part, please?
I said we need to make sure that we learn to spend our money, our dollar in our community.
Mhm.
That's why it's important to keep our community, to hold a community. That our dollar circulates in our community more than one time.
Yeah,
It can't
yeah,
just go around and then leave the community, and the next thing everybody is shopping at some store that we have nothing to do with as far as ownership.
and they don't want anything to do with us. That part too.
Excuse me.
No worries. And they want nothing. And they want nothing to do with us as well. So,
Knew that one was coming.
okay.
Yes. Right.
that
And
that
then
one
they,
last change.
so that it's important. There were certain things uh, lessons that we have to learn and have to adhere to.
Mhm. So,
And
and go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, can you still see me?
I can see you. You missed me. You lost me.
I just got you on a smaller screen. Somebody's calling
Yeah, you can
my
put it on
wife.
do not
I'm on my
disturb.
wife's phone.
Don't worry
Huh?
about it. You can put it on do not disturb as well. But okay. And last
Yeah.
question.
Hmm.
When we're doing this interview on the way in the lead up to this great day for you,
Hmm.
what do you think you're going to feel?
What am I going to feel? I really don't know what I'm going to feel, you know. Uh, I have grandchildren now and great grandchildren of
Woo!
comprehensive age.
Hmm.
And it's going to be, uh, I think, probably most fulfilling for me to see them in the audience, knowing what that ceremony represents,
Yeah.
and not ever having thought when I first came to Hollywood over 50 years ago that this would be a part of my legacy, you know, that I would be leaving. Of course, every young actor comes and you go and you know, you see the stars and you walk down the street or goo goo gaga, you know, and all of the different heroes on the street. But you know, and maybe once or twice you think maybe I'd be one of them, you know. But as the journey goes, that becomes further and further away from your aim or your goal, you know.
No.
So for that to become a reality, you know, is very humbling,
Mm.
April. Very, very, very humbling.
Well, with that, I'm going to do you one, a cowboy hat tip. So people don't know that this gentleman right here, he
Yeah,
is definitely a black cowboy with his horses in California. And
yeah,
that's one of the things that we connected on because my daughter rides. She doesn't
yeah,
ride like him,
yeah.
but my daughter rides. And I just want to thank you for your body of work, your wisdom, and just who you are as a human being
Thank
in this moment, because you just in this conversation you're teaching and you're
you.
preaching,
Mm,
and we need it. We need it. Yesterday is today again.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Thank you, my love.
Thank
Always a pleasure to talk to
It's
you.
always a pleasure to talk to you, and
Thank,
congratulations, sir.
thank
Glenn
you so
Turman gets his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I can't wait, guys, because I'm going to be walking down the street looking for that star soon.
much.
So thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.